Brian Flores took a different approach than many of us have seen before. Very reminiscent of Roger Staubach.
Yeah, so we can compare a rookie QB to a toddler.
So that's why I have the Mavs winning in 7, and then Luka's just going to be Luka.
Hayward's absence for this game will be significant, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game turns into a blowout as of late.
The Golden Knights just can't pull it. I really think the Avalanche are determined this year.
They made so many moves and grabbed so many guys that they have to win a championship or at least make the finals. They were on our championship and bust.
Dallas has just been on a tear. I believe we can attribute that to Jason Robertson. Also, Jake Ottinger, who's really stepped in.
Kaprizov and the rest of this crew. Jordan Greenway, who doesn't get enough props. He definitely is somebody who needs to be mentioned more. I definitely think this is going to be a great series, and I'm interested to see how much Kaprizov can impact the game as a rookie.
Yeah, and as a Cowboys fan, I have learned how dangerously good Aaron Rodgers has been with he can just thread a pass.
Is the Avalanche versus the Blues. I believe the Blues are starting to play some of their best hockey all year, so they can push this to 6 games.
If Leiter's there, I'm happy with Leiter because I think he fits into what you were saying about a much quicker thing. But if Leiter's not there, which is seeming so, I say Jordan Lawler at number 2.
The same self. The only year he won an MVP was the year he cheated, which really should put something against that MVP. But
there will be a Rodgers playing for Green Bay, even though he may not be the quarterback. But it's still unknown there. Austin is giving me the dead stare, so I guess don't mention Aaron Rodgers to him right now.
A top 3 corner in the league in Jair Alexander, and pairing him with a really fast corner should definitely assist in their ability to guard anybody in their division and anybody in the league.
Hello, I am Ruby Ackerman, and you are listening to Outsider's Opinion with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Finals review. We are catching up with the NBA Finals. The Warriors, who I predicted made it to the finals, and then the Celtics surprisingly made it all the way with a tough Game 7. We were talking about that. That Game 7 is the last close game that happened in the NBA playoffs. And I unfortunately couldn't see it, and I know there was an issue with the, was it Robinson who was out of bounds?
No, it was Max Struss.
Oh, okay, Max Struss. Okay. But that would have been the game-winning 3?
It would have definitely changed the scope of the game. The Heat wouldn't have needed to foul, and it would have changed everything if that actually would have counted. And I don't know how that got overturned. It was actually crazy how you can it has to be definitive, and it definitely was far from that. I don't know why they didn't just keep it the way it was called on the floor, but that was a terrible mistake. And then, yeah, we're trying to get caught up in the finals. You had some stuff, I had some stuff, but this series hasn't been close in any of the games. It seems like one team will pull away at the end, and the other would just fall off. The Warriors have been dominating the third quarter, but it hasn't really mattered in the 2 games that the Boston Celtics have won. And tonight's a big game, and I think whoever wins this game tonight wins the series. If the Warriors can tie the series 2-2, they'll have 2 of the last 3 games at home, and I'm pretty confident that they could win this series. But if Boston wins this one, it doesn't really matter what happens in Game 5. I think they win Game 6.
Yeah, I'm still pulling for the Warriors because I predict them to win, but it would be tough to overcome a 3-1 lead. And going over, that was Game 3, it just looked like Boston had them outmatched. I don't know the numbers, but the offensive rebounding was insane for the Celtics. And then just the turnovers, there were 3 straight turnovers. I think that was to begin the 4th. They just did not look good. And Jaylen Brown has been incredible. So is Tatum, but I think you can expect that from Tatum. And Game 1, Tatum only had 12 points, but they still won. So it just seems like the supporting cast is dominating the Warriors supporting cast right now. But that just seems to be whoever wins is dominating. It's not a tough battle at the end of the 4th. It's already decided, which I know what you just said, but who is one player that stuck out to you?
I'm gonna say Jason Tatum, but for the wrong reasons. In this series, Jason Tatum is shooting 33.9% from the field. Uh, so I've been surprised, mainly because they're winning games. They're 2-1 with him shooting that poorly, and while he is shooting good from three, 43.5%, 10 makes on 23 shots from three, he's missing layups. He's missing easy mid-range jumpers that I expect him to make, and I just don't anticipate them to be able to continue to win games with Tatum shooting this poorly. If he shoots bad tonight, I fully expect the Warriors to get their game together and pull through and win. Now, a big issue for the Warriors, like you mentioned, has been rebounds. They've been out rebounded by 5 to 6 every game. The Celtics average 5.6 more rebounds per game this series, and that really can show true with how big the Celtics are. Al Horford, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, those are much bigger than most of the players on the Warriors. While Kevin Looney is a center and they do play Bjelica, that's really it when it comes to true size and board power. And Kevin Looney this series is only averaging 7.7 rebounds, which is concerning when Al Horford's averaging 7.3 and Robert Williams is averaging 6, and not to mention Jaylen Brown is averaging 7.3 rebounds. So it just seems like the Warriors are getting out hustled when it comes to the boards.
Yeah, and speaking of like the size difference, like you mentioned, Robert Williams and Al Horford versus Kevin Looney, on the offensive side, you can't really take advantage of the bigs um, like the Mavs did with Rudy Gobert because Al Horford and Robert Williams are handling their own. Like you can't really get past them. So it's not really quote unquote a mismatch for if you can get a switch on with Curry attacking Horford. And so they've just been incredible and they can hit the three. So that was just a thing that stuck out to me during game 3. And then onto the player, I feel Jaylen Brown has just been incredible this series. Um, and then I thought Tatum would play better. I was shocked that game 1 he only had 12 points and the Celtics won. So I think that's a huge win for the Celtics because your best player wasn't playing well, but you're still able to steal a game in Golden State. So I really have no idea who to predict is going to win. I'm just going to stand by the Warriors because that's who I predicted first. But it's been, I think it's a really close series, but the games haven't been close. Do you agree with that or?
I don't know if it's going to be a close series or not. It kind of has been to this point, but at the same token, no, because like Clay is shooting 34% from the field, 32.1% from three. He hasn't looked good. Draymond Green is 0 for 7 from three, 5 of 19 from the field, which is 26.3% from the field. Both of those players have been terrible. Even though Clay has put up points sometimes, he's just taking way too many dumb shots. Jordan Poole isn't being his normal self. He's only averaging 12 points, 41.5, 41.4, my bad, percent from the field. I really think that they should play Andre Iguodala more if he's healthy because he's shot well from the field when he's played and he has that veteran experience. And for the Celtics, it's just been a well-rounded effort. They're playing as a team, and it's really looking like they have a serious chance of winning the series. And Derek White, while he's also shooting poorly from the field, only 39.4% from the field, he's doing well on the defensive side, and we can really tell that he can be a good player for this team when they need a big bucket. He's made some huge shots, and while he may not shoot well for the game, when they need a shot, he can make it.
Yeah, I would agree. And maybe I can rephrase the close series. I feel each team has a legitimate shot of winning. It's not like with some series where it's like, okay, this team's up 2-1, they're going to cruise. With here, I feel even if the Celtics go up 3-1, I could still see the Warriors winning it. But um, it's just like each team has a legitimate shot to win, which is nice to see. I just wish the games were a lot closer, especially in the fourth.
Yeah, and the perimeter defense has been terrible this series. Both teams are shooting over 40% from three. That's unheard of. And but in the same token, a lot of players are shooting bad from the field, and it's because they're taking dumb shots or just they can't shoot mid ranges like we've seen players in the past, like Dirk, like LaMarcus Aldridge, like Kobe, like Jordan, like any of these players that I mean, Aldridge is still in the league today, but he's obviously not in this series. And it just there's not many players who can really master even the inside game for players who aren't bigs. Like Kevin Looney shooting 71% from the field, but he's also not attempted that many shots, only 14 in the series. So it really just depends uh, what shots you're taking, and everyone's deciding to take threes, and whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll have to see. But points per games numbers aren't crazy high. The Boston Celtics over all of their games are averaging 108, and the Warriors are averaging 105. So I guess it is kind of close when you average out those numbers and see that okay, both teams are kind of putting up close to the same amount of points per game. But turnovers are the exact same. Both teams have 42 turnovers. It's been a pretty equal game when it comes to the stats. Just the games haven't been close by themselves. And it really just comes down to which team gets hot in the fourth quarter and which team goes ice cold.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I'm gonna stick with my prediction that I made at the beginning of the playoffs. Warriors in 7, because it can still happen. So I'm gonna stay with it. What about you? What's your prediction?
Yeah, so if you remember when we made our initial prediction before the season started, who did I have making the finals?
I I thought it was gonna be Suns. I
Before
really.
the season, I had Warriors and Nets. Obviously the Nets did
Ooh.
not work out, but the Warriors did. And I'm trying to find that piece of paper. I have it somewhere where I wrote down my prediction, and I'll go find it. If you need to, I can't remember the title of the video, but I'm sure Kevin can find it
I could
eventually.
probably guess. This would be before. So this is before the season even started. So I'm trying to check. I'm trying to remember what format, but it's on YouTube. And Apple Podcasts. It'd probably be NBA. This is when we were doing like whole season prediction. It'd probably be NBA
Yeah.
season predictions and playoff
Yeah, that's
predictions. That'd be the
probably
name
what
of
it
it.
is. But I had the Warriors making the finals, and I can't remember if I had them winning or not. I remember having them in, but I don't remember if I had the Nets winning or the Warriors winning. That's where I'm really tied up right now. So I'm gonna go with the Warriors because I believe I had them winning, and I think that they have more experience, obviously, and I think they can get it done. But if Jason Tatum turns into the Jason Tatum we've seen in previous series, I'm really worried for the Warriors because they're stars, they're Hall of Famers. As many people say that Clay is going to be a Hall of Famer. Many people say Draymond's going to be a Hall of Famer. Those guys have to show up and play like Hall of Famers. So I'm going to stick with the Warriors right now. I think the Warriors will win the series probably in 7, but I don't necessarily know whether or not it's going to happen if Draymond and Clay don't turn up their game.
Yeah, that's very true. Maybe we can go into legacies. I know if I was talking about this with someone, if Steph gets Finals MVP, I think he's in the top 10 players of all time.
We'll have to do our top 10 players of all
Well,
time
yeah.
in a video.
But I think he's like borderline right now. But what happens if he loses in the finals? How do you think his legacy is? Do you think his legacy gets hurt?
Maybe a little bit, but the fact that Clay and Draymond are playing so poorly, I don't think it'll hurt his legacy too bad. But it does hurt when you look at all the series he played without Durant. 2015, 2016, 2019 because I'm not going to count 2019 because KD played what? A quarter and a half?
One game
A
or
quarter and a
yeah,
half. He
probably.
played like a quarter and a half. And then uh this finals. And so in all of those series he's 1-3. And he
Yeah,
gets his other 2 rings from the 2 finals that KD played in with him and was healthy and played more than a quarter and a half. So it does look not great for his legacy if they lose this series, but I'm not counting him out yet. And it's going to need some big performances from guys who haven't shown up this far in the finals for them to get it done.
Okay, and then what about Tatum? Where does he go? Does he go? I don't think he falls too much if they lose. I think it goes up, like pretty up, if he wins.
Winning doesn't mean everything to me because, again, Tatum's only shooting 33% from the field. So it's not like he's the reason why they're here. Like, I think Marcus Smart has been very, very, very good. 47% from the field, 41.2% from three, averaging a steal per game. Also, Al Horford's been really good. Robert Williams is putting up Ben Wallace type numbers. And yes, I don't use that lightly. Ben Wallace, 3.3 blocks per game these finals and 1.3 steals. That'll catch my attention. So I don't know how much it increases his legacy just yet for Tatum because he's having so many players on his team play at a great and high level, better than they have been so far in these playoffs or maybe their entire careers. So I don't know where it goes yet. We'll have to see how the rest of the series plays out before I can make any of those opinions.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to get the talk started early because I've definitely been thinking about, okay, my opinion or I've seen my opinion of Tatum has changed a little bit. Like I was like, dang, Tatum's really good, and then Jaylen Brown's just been incredible. But it's also we can just take a moment to recognize how great the Celtics have been in the second half of the season because I know were the Mavericks 13-19 or this at the break. I think Celtics were 13 of 19 or 18 of 19. Do you know what I'm talking about or no? Have you not seen that?
At one point in the season, I know they were 22 and 23 or 23 and 24, but I don't know necessarily what at the
okay, but it was like one of those stats where they were like borderline 500 and almost out of the playoffs, and now they went on a crazy run. They had a crazy hot streak. In February, that would be February. And then now they've made it all the way to the NBA Finals in Ime Udoka's first season, which is incredible, and Brad Stevens being the general manager. I thought he was going to get fired, but he got promotion. But it seems to be working out right now. So, any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right, that is it. Thank you for listening, and be on the lookout for more episodes from Outsiders Opinions.